Welcome back to Tiny Grimes Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Destiny video. And yes, the spoilers continue to roll in, and today we have some pretty darn exciting ones. So let's get started with Rex the Clone Captain. Rex is pretty cool. His ability I really like because it opens up a whole new way of playing. So traditionally, in order to be able to ensure that your deck could use the battlefield that you chose to put in your deck, you had to run a really fast deck. If you were going to run a slow deck, you would purposely choose a battlefield that didn't help you because it wouldn't help your opponent either. And if you ran a medium deck, you really had to get a feel for the meta and figure out exactly how much a battlefield could help you versus help your opponent. Well, Rex turns this all on its head and says basically, guess what? You can actually choose a battlefield that helps you and just run it, which is really exciting to me. Now, it doesn't work with claim effects, but this is really for any of these passive effect battlefields, like the Weapons Alpha facility, the one that gives you Guardian, or the new Bendu battlefield. All of these will do something for you, and you can be nearly guaranteed you're going to have them all game if you run Rex and 2 clone troopers. But I even just came up with an idea a little while ago. What if you ran single die Rex, elite, Rose, and 1 trooper, and then you run the Weapons Alpha? There's a really good chance that those first 2 turns you're going to get a reduction on your first vehicle. And that's a pretty heavy resource swing. That's essentially 2 free resources to get your game plan going until they can kill that clone trooper. And if they kill the clone trooper first, that means they didn't kill Rose first, and Rose is doing her thing. So I'm not here claiming that this is the new greatest vehicle deck. What I'm doing is trying to illustrate just how good this effect could end up being just with controlling the battlefield. And that's not including any new battlefields that might have been designed to work with Rex and have some cool synergy with him and his crew. To me, that alone is really exciting. And then there's also all kinds of events you could play. The obvious traditional ones are like defensive position, dug in from the very beginning. There's a card called Superior Position that I didn't even know existed. It's 1 cost, remove any die. Like, that's amazing, but you have to control the battlefield. So that'd be great with Rex. You could conceivably run 1 clone trooper and a yellow guy to play hasty exit. Like, there's just all kinds of stuff that suddenly become viable that weren't really viable outside of a really fast deck. And the bottom line is, to me, that's really exciting. So on the one hand, we have a lot of excitement there. On the other hand, we have to temper it a bit. 11-14 is not much, but I feel like he suffers from the Luke Skywalker syndrome, and that is the new starter Luke Skywalker, who is pretty darn good at 11-14, and I thought this guy might see play, and then they release Ayla at 9-12, and it's just hard to justify, especially with really good plot cards. That means just chopping off 3 and you get this amazing plot card. It seems hard to find a deck where 11-14 is good. But Rex is really cool. I'm very excited for him. I think there is the potential, even at 11-14, to have a high impact and be in a tier 1 deck, just sort of depending on if there's a battlefield that synergizes really well with him. What's so cool about him is he's going to be around for a long time. Like, they have a long time to figure out a way to make a Rex deck amazing. And any battlefield that comes out with a passive effect that's bonkers, and suddenly Rex goes from being maybe a tier 2 to boom, instantly tier 1. So I'm really excited about Rex. I'm not sure out of the gate he's going to be crazy impactful, but he's going to have an impact at some point. Alright, let's talk about long term. Long-term plan looks really, really, really good to me. So let's just think about the resource plot that costs 3. So at the beginning of the game, you get 1 single resource. Now, this is great for a fast deck that wants to start out strong with a 3-cost weapon. Sure. But if you were to take that first turn and just put the resource on long-term plan, the rest of the game you get an extra resource, essentially, when you resolve a resource die. So each turn, conceivably, you have 4 resources now instead of 2 at the cost of 1 of your dice. That's kind of crazy. Like, that alone, it doesn't feel like it replaces the other card, because if you want to play a pile of 3-cost weapons to guarantee you get one first turn, like, these are slightly different decks. But I feel like Long-Term Plan is a really cool and very strong card. Like I said, you can just put 1 on it and exploit that for several turns. Or you can try to play the game of figuring out, like, what is my deck trying to do? How many turns do I think it can last? Like, you could do something really cool, like first 3 turns, put stuff on there. If you think you can stretch your deck to 5 or 6 turns, and the next 3 turns just thump people for 3 extra, you basically have a no mercy that you're doing. You're just like, boom, no mercy, whenever I want. Like, that is crazy strong. And its cost is just the 3 build points, which, as we've seen with crazy cards like Mother Talzin and whatever her name is, the 9/12 busted character. I cannot get my brain to say her name at this moment. There are some real opportunities to use Long-Term Plan successfully. And what's exciting to me is that it's really flexible. Like, if you want to use it first couple, just put 1 on it and then exploit it for a couple turns, that's fine. If you want to save it for a late game thumping, that's fine. I really think people are going to find very cool ways to use this card, and I think this is going to be a card that sees play. I think it's really interesting, though, that it is Red Hero. We haven't seen this before. This is a very limited plot, and so it's going to be harder to just slot in Ayla. Like, maybe you find a good deck with her, maybe not. And, of course, Talzin you just can't use because she's a villain. But so it's going to be really interesting to see, can we find the right deck, because it has to be Red Hero. My guess is yes. I already am looking at this with, like, a vehicle deck and going, like, if you can hang around for a while, and then turns 4, 5, and 6, your vehicle rolls a 3-side and does 6. Like, that's insane. So I'm pretty excited about this card. I think it's going to be great. All right. Bendu's Lair is really cool. And, it's going to really work really well with Rex, actually. Like, this could be the card, actually, that breaks Rex wide open. It's a battlefield with a die. Like, that's really neat. So you can just roll it in as one of your early actions. You're going to get some shields. You're going to get some damage. You're going to get a focus. Whatever you need, great. If your opponent wants to be insane and take the battlefield immediately, that's fine. But the cool thing is, if you have Rex, you pretty much either guarantee that you're going to be able to use this yourself. Because if you just go, first action, activate Rex, take control of the battlefield, then use it, awesome. And if they are the first player, and they don't want you to do that, they're forced into a situation where they have to roll this in as their first action. Then you roll Rex in, take control of the battlefield. Now they're an action behind, and they've lost that tempo advantage of going first. So I think either way, this works really well with Rex, and this is currently my front runner for the card that makes Rex really good, because it's just adds basically another die to a Rex deck. So I think this is going to be a really exciting battlefield. This is also going to be awesome for any deck that wants to move really fast. Like, this is just going to be a really, really useful card in any fast deck. And a lot of times the fast decks have less dice, and that's the trade-off. And this is a way to kind of, flesh that out a little bit more. So I think this is a really, really cool battlefield. I'm excited. Just this whole suite of 3 cards. Again, like, this new set is looking really cool. Even the cards that don't seem busted good seem playable. And the cards that do seem good don't seem, like, brokenly good. Like, Ayla, the second we saw her, we were like, what is happening? I don't understand. Why is she so good? These are just really good cards that are promising. So I'm excited for Ways of the Force. I hope you are. And let me know in the comments below what you think. Did I miss any interactions? Which of these cards do you think is best? And I'll see you next time on Tiny Grams Games.